Hey there, Ride the Car Guy here, and today let's talk about how the changes I've made to the Xterra have held up over the years. Now my channel has been around about 6 years now, and in those 6 years I've made a lot of changes to the Xterra. Like a lot. And I get so many comments asking how a particular change has held up for however many years I've had it. And of course there's also been videos where I make a big change and then I just don't show you the results, so my bad on that one. So to answer those questions, I wanted to make a couple videos. We're gonna have two videos. One's gonna be about the visual changes I've made, and the other's gonna be about the mechanical changes. I have done a heck of a lot more mechanical work than I have done appearance upgrades on the Xterra, so we're actually just gonna do these in reverse chronological order, starting from the most recent big change I've made all the way down to well, the oldest. The most recent sort of large mechanical change I've made to the Xterra is swapping out the clutch. Now the job was a huge pain in the ass, but the Xterra really needed to get it done. There was a ton of wear on the original clutch from the original owner, I'm sure, and it just really needed to get done. So I used the LUK brand. Somebody on Reddit, I don't remember, shouted out that the LUK from Rock Auto is the original manufacturer of the clutches for these Xterras, so don't go buy the OEM from the Nissan parts website. They'll literally just send you an LUK, or I call it a luck clutch, for a heck of a lot more money than you can get it right on Rock Auto. Before that, the next biggest change was the lift kit. Back in September of 2020, we went ahead and swapped out the tired stock suspension for the All Dogs Off-Road 2-inch lift kit. In that video, I talked about needing new tires, but you know, here we are. It's on the list though. But all in all, I'm very impressed with this kit. I've talked about this ad nauseum on the actual video, so if you go to the comments, you'll see a lot of feedback there, but all in all, I would say this was absolutely a worthwhile upgrade. The Xterra had a tremendous amount of body roll, and it had that really soft feeling. The ADO kit not only gave it a couple inches of lift, but really stiffened up the ride and gave me a lot more confidence on the road. Two things to note though, if you are going from a stock tired suspension to the ADO lift kit, it is going to feel very, very firm when you first get it installed. Not only is it new, so it's just going to be stiff by nature, but also it's designed to be stiffer than the original Xterra suspension. The other thing I would say is I definitely recommend pairing it with the new upper control arms for the Xterra as well. The way these suspensions are designed, the more you raise them, the more your camber gets out of whack. So that's what fixes that, right? You get the new upper control arm, it pushes that top ball joint, and it lines everything up for you. Overall, the kits still look clean and healthy. When you do ride them for a while, you do need to make sure that your rear leaf packs are still, under the right torque. So make sure after, I don't know, a couple hundred miles, tighten it down, a couple more hundred, tighten it down again. Just make sure that they're nice and secure back there. I haven't had any issues, but I just never mentioned that during my install video. The next thing I want to talk about is the cam sensors. And really the only reason that this is worth mentioning is because everybody, and I mean everybody you ask, will tell you to go OEM. And I didn't. I was in a pinch. The Xterra was not starting, or it was stalling on me. And I just needed to get sensors right away. So I went up to my local auto parts store, picked up a brand, I don't remember what it is. If I remember it or I can find it, I'll put it right here. And honestly, they've been great. I really have not had any issues. People also say you should be replacing your cam sensors with your crank sensor, doing it all three at once. And I do agree with that, and you absolutely should. I didn't, and I could just be lucking out, but I haven't had any problems yet. That job was done May 2020, so it's been nearly 2 years, and I haven't had a single issue with them. Now, a couple months prior to that, in March of 2020, I installed a heated seat in the Xterra. Now, obviously this isn't a mechanical upgrade, but it's certainly not an appearance upgrade. The only reason I want to mention this is that I got a pretty inexpensive kit off of Amazon, and it has held up wonderfully. I used it all through the last couple winters. Yes, I use my seat heater in Florida. I'm like that, but the button, still performs great. Obviously I can't show you much on camera, but it does heat up well. It does a perfectly fine job and has ever since I installed it. The only thing I would prefer is one in the passenger side, because when I'm not driving, I also want that option. Back under the hood, there's a couple things I want to mention, and for the sake of expediency, I'm just going to go ahead and put them on the screen and when I made the change. That includes the catch can, the valve cover gaskets, the fan clutch, and the remanufactured throttle body I installed. Now, the reason that some of these are worth mentioning is that I went pretty darn cheap on some of these. The catch can is, just a couple bucks off of Amazon, and that has been pretty darn fantastic. It does the job perfectly fine, and I just empty it when I change my oil, screw it back on, and really forget that it exists. The throttle body I went with looks kind of crappy right now, but It works great, and that was a remanufactured unit that I got on either Amazon or eBay, I don't remember, for like just over $100. Compare that to OEM prices where they want like $600–700 for these things. I thought I was getting away with murder, and sure enough, it works great, and it has ever since I installed it. One thing to note is that if you do replace stuff like this, you want to make sure you reprogram it, and I of course have a video for that. Not much to say about the fan clutch or the valve cover gaskets. They work, and that's really all you need them to do. The fan clutch, before I installed this replacement, would never engage the fan, so I was getting sort of an overheating issue, right, when it wasn't drawing air through the radiator. And then I put the new fan clutch on, and it now engages. Simple as that. Valve cover gaskets, I did go aftermarket, if I remember. I think I went with mail or something like that. So, and those, you know, again, leaked before I installed them, doesn't leak after. Mission accomplished. Now, far and away the biggest job I've done under the hood of the Xterra has been the secondary timing chain guides. Now, this video, it's kind of funny. I went through all of that work. I went through making that entirely super long video, and then I never showed you guys how it sounded once I started it back up. So, my mistake. I think I was just very, very excited to be done with the job. So obviously I'll do that today, but now that job was back in August of 2016. So it's nearly been 6 years since I've done that job, and it still runs great. So take a listen. One more item I want to talk about, and one that I actually get quite a few questions about, is the fuel pump that I bought. And that was a Xterra brand, I believe it was called. And that actually has also been pretty darn great. I haven't had any fuel delivery issues since installing it. And really the reason I even installed it in the first place was that my fuel gauge didn't work. The pump was actually fine. So I went through all the trouble of dropping the tank just to make sure I get that fuel gauge working, which is pretty darn important. And actually, you know what? This reminds me, let me show you something. For those of you that are like, hey idiot, you know you have an access panel under your rear seat. This model year, or maybe even this particular Xterra, did not come with a fuel pump access port. Believe me, I looked and I wish that it did. That would be pretty funny though if I went through all the trouble of dropping the tank and there was an access port right under the rear seat. But that does bring up a good point though. Make sure you do lift up your rear seat. Make sure there isn't one before you go through that trouble. Because honestly, it's not really fun. That was gonna be my last one, but actually I have some bonus content for you. Back in December of 2015, so like 6.5 years ago, probably the first thing I did to the Xterra when I bought it, because it's so damn annoying, is the struts in the rear. I got these things for like, I don't know, it was like 25 or 30 bucks on Amazon or eBay. I don't remember, but of course I'll put a link in the description. And these things have been awesome. It's actually a bit too much. See, it actually rocks and it moves the entire vehicle. So regardless, that is, again, almost, coming up on 7 years old, and these have been great. That about covers the ones that I really get the most questions about. If I missed any, certainly go down to the comments below and let me know. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you scroll down and click that like button. Certainly subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next one. And the reman throttle body.